What's going on, everybody? I'm Howard Bender from Fantasy Alarm. It's time now for your MLB Week 18 Fantasy Baseball Stock Watch. All right, players are rising and falling in value each and every day, and now is one of the most important times with the MLB trade deadline just 2 weeks away. Players are going to be moving, and you need to make sure that your fantasy roster is bolstered for the second half surge you need. So let's play a little 3 up, 3 down, and we start with your Fantasy Baseball Stock Watch risers. Jaren Duran, outfielder for the Boston Red Sox. Listen, this is a guy who's probably well owned in your league, but if you get the opportunity to trade for him, if you need runs scored, if you need stolen bases, if you need batting average and OBP help, he's going to be a guy you're going to want. He's opened up the second half batting .389, 2 home runs, 7 RBI. He's got 12 homers, 22 steals on the season. The play is quality. It's the intangibles that he's bringing to the game right now. And forgive me for my Yankees fandom here. Don't pull my card, but I really do love this player. He's got a great attitude. He's having fun on the field, and that infectious attitude of his is affecting the players around him. So when he's doing well, they're doing well, and that's going to continue to bolster his stats. So get yourself a little Jaren Duran. If you're in a keeper or dynasty league, this is definitely a trade target you're going to want to have. Next player up, Oakland Athletics outfielder Lawrence Butler. 4 straight multi-hit games to open up the second half. He's seeing all the playing time right now as the A's are just going to be auditioning players for next season and the year after. They need a good core of players to lock in for when they move to Las Vegas. And Lawrence Butler is definitely a guy who defensively in center field, he's rock solid. So if he can continue to keep hitting, he's going to be a huge asset. He's owned in fewer than 20% of leagues across ESPN and Yahoo. So strike while the iron's hot. He's not going to hit this well to continue for the next 2 months. But for right now, that's a guy you want on your roster. And then finally, Jacob Young. He's another guy who's in a very similar situation as Lawrence Butler. Jacob Young playing for the Washington Nationals. How about 4 stolen bases in his last 3 games, which opens up the second half here? Batting average and OBP are a little on the meh side, but regular playing time, more kids coming up, right? They brought up James Wood. They're going to bring up Dylan Cruz. And when they start playing together, these kids are going to have a lot of fun. So maximize your at-bats and get a little speed in there while you can. On the faller side, the 3 down, we start with Brice Turang. He's closed out the first half going 2 for 20. He's opened up the second half going just 1 for 16 with a 37.5% strikeout rate. He's a stolen base guy. Everybody's in on his 30 stolen bases. The dude has 2 steals since June 29th. So that's something that you're going to have to watch. If he continues to struggle like this, he's going to drag your batting average down. You're not going to get the speed that you need. I'm not saying you dump him. I'm saying you bench him for right now and let him heat up. Next guy on the way down, how about Josh Smith? Now, this is a good buy low opportunity. I'm a big fan of Josh Smith. Second baseman, third baseman for the Texas Rangers. Good left-handed bat. Opened up the second half, though, 0 for 14 with 6 strikeouts. So that's not looking good. But you know what? This entire Rangers lineup is actually struggling a lot right now. And so I'm kind of looking at the situation here as they're going to heat up. 2 weeks ago, we talked about this with Marcus Semien. So now we bring it here to Josh Smith. Stash him. Wait until this team starts to heat up because, yeah, they're going to do that. They're going to surge towards the playoffs. And Josh Smith will be a guy that you want. But for right now, Josh Smith is a guy who's dragging you down. And then finally here, we're going to go to a relief pitcher, Tanner Scott of the Miami Marlins. And this is, I wrote my article in the New York Post about this. I've got a link in the full article over at fantasyalarm.com for this. And that way you can check it out for yourself. But we start with Tanner Scott. The Miami Marlins are going on a fire sale. Everybody must go. Tanner Scott with a 1.27 ERA with 16 saves with 48 strikeouts in 42 innings. This is a guy who other general managers are going to covet. However, they're going to covet him for their bullpen, not necessarily their closer job. There are a number of closers out there who are probably going to lose their job if they do get traded. Again, they're all in my article in the New York Post. But Tanner Scott definitely leads the way. Miami fire sale is coming, and you're going to want to make sure that you stay protected and don't lose out on saves. Again, I've got a full article over at fantasyalarm.com, more details, more stats, more links to all content that you need. It's time to buckle down here for the second half of fantasy baseball. If you don't have a subscription, hit this QR code right now and get yourself in on the Fantasy Alarm deal right now. You're talking about fantasyalarm.com/win. Promo code Let's Go gives you 50% off your first month. You're going to want to make sure that you jump on that now because, well, it's going to be fantasy football season before you know it, and you're going to want to get that draft guide too. Thanks so much for tuning in here to the Fantasy Baseball Stock Watch. Again, go check out everything over at fantasyalarm.com. I'm Howard Bender.